So Duncan, Bronwyn, thank you for your time on this lovely Thursday afternoon. I really did suggest this, and I wanted to do something like this because I have so many questions, one about Speakers Inc. and two about WeSpeak, which is a wonderful platform that's been building itself over the last couple of years. When I say building itself, you guys have been actively building that brand. At the same time, Speakers Inc. has relocated. But I think we can't talk about what's happened now without going back in time just a little. So I think, Bron, if you don't mind, I'm going to ask you. We've known each other for a long time. Tell me a little bit about the roots and the origins of Speakers Inc. and how you've got to where you are today, now based in San Diego. How's all that happened?
Sure, Duane, it has been a minute, hasn't it? If I count on my hands, you and I have been working together for a quarter of a century. How's that?
100% true, guaranteed. And you don't look a day older.
Well, I must say that you've aged beautifully.
Thank you.
So Speakers Inc. started on January 21st, 1999. It came about because I just fell in love with this industry, and I found that I couldn't imagine doing anything else. It was either this or become a wedding planner. And to be honest with you, I don't have the stomach to deal with not so much the brides, but the brides' moms. I had some experience in a previous lifetime with them, and I didn't have the courage to do that. So I actually sat down with Mike Lipkin back in the day, and I said to him, I'm really conflicted about what to do. And he said to me that sometimes eagles need a push, and that I would phone him in 6 months' time and tell him that he was right because it was easy. And so I did call him, but I was 18 months late in calling him. It was almost 2 years to the day. And I phoned him and I said, this is your 6-month call. And he was like, what are you on about? I said, well, almost 2 years ago, you told me that I would phone you in 6 months and tell you that you were right because it was so easy. So I'm sorry that I'm 18 months late, but actually it was so easy that I've been so busy that I haven't had the time to call.
Yes.
And really it was. I don't have a job, Duane. I have an adventure. I get to work with incredibly cool people. People I love, people I believe in. I have amazing clients, and it really isn't a job. It's not a job. It's just an extension of who I am.
So you made the move to San Diego recently, and that fascinates me. Why San Diego? First of all, because I haven't been yet myself. I definitely plan to. I want to. I can't wait. Why San Diego?
Oh my gosh, this is also a funny story. So when we decided that we were going to, because really we came to America for WeSpeak. Okay, so we've expanded. Speakers Inc. is still very much running and alive and kicking and actually doing really well right now in South Africa, thankfully, after the COVID disaster. So we've expanded Speakers Inc. up into America. And we came and Duncan will tell you about the WeSpeak strategy.
Yes.
But when we decided we were coming to America, Duncan wanted a ranch in Texas. So my first choice was Los Angeles. So here we have Los Angeles, big city. I mean, I loved Hollywood. A lot of people have looked at me as if I crawled out of a piece of Swiss cheese, but I loved Hollywood. I would move to Hollywood after breakfast. I loved it. The romance of it, the history of it, everything. I just completely captured my imagination. So there I was wanting Hollywood and Los Angeles and all of that, and my love wanting a ranch in Texas. So in my opinion, we compromised on San Diego. And you can see Duncan's keeping very quiet there because in his opinion, it's not a compromise. To which I reply, well, it is a compromise. A compromise isn't necessarily 50-50, right? A compromise is anywhere on that scale. So one of us compromised more than the other, and we compromised on San Diego.
But a compromise nevertheless. It is a good story. I like that. And we cannot say Duncan's name as many times as we have now without bringing Duncan into the conversation and saying, Duncan, it has been a crazy couple of years with you and WeSpeak. People who don't know what WeSpeak is, I do. I think it's a great concept, but tell us the objective with the platform that is called WeSpeak and where we are right now.
Duane, thank you very much. So I think, like what Bronwyn did, a bit of a background.
Yes.
I came into the industry much later, obviously with Bronwyn, her expertise and her experience with conference speakers. And when we bought them, after they'd been in existence for 30 years, we took that brand on, fixed it up. It ended up with a challenging profile. But we absorbed it into our ethos and our brand and our values and fixed it up. So we then reassessed everything we were doing, and we started realizing that event planners would just use us as yellow pages. So they would take our knowledge and our expertise and say, well, this is great. Who would you recommend for this event? This is the theme. This is the audience. This is the topic. This is what they want to achieve. Can you give us some suggestions? And that's all we were doing. And some we win, and some they'll say, yes, we want to book that speaker through you. And others, they would take our suggestion and go direct. And we knew that was happening. It was happening time and time again. So we were just being used as yellow pages. So that's why we thought of, well, what if we could create a platform where they could do that? And we just said, here are the products. You choose which one. And the products have to then manage their own. How they look, where they are. It's almost like if you walk into Checkers or into one of the supermarkets, it could be Winco or Ralph's or wherever it be. You walk into one of these big super chains, and when you first walk in, you get all the special deals, and you get this, and you get certain products there.
Sure.
And you go through to the vegetables, and then you get to the aisles of random stuff, and then your meat sections and your bakery, and you finish off at the tills that have all the sweets, and you're always thirsty by the time you get there, so you grab a cool drink and a sweet. But those aisles, whether it be on the bottom shelf or the top shelf or the middle shelf, are paying to be there. They're buying shelf space. So if you want to be advertised at the till, you're paying extra to have your product at that till. And same if you want to be on the bottom shelf or the middle shelf or the top shelf. Obviously, most people want to be on the middle shelf because that's eye level.
Sure.
So that's where we thought of it. And we thought, okay, well, what if we create this platform where, yes, it's driven by the number of reviews, but you have to get those reviews. More reviews, the higher the visibility. At the same time, if you have 50 reviews, but your profile is not condensed and it doesn't have enough on it, somebody will scroll past. We were chatting earlier about scrolling up. Well, then I'll go to the next one. And the next one's going to stand out because they've got video content, they've got PDF files, they've got on-demand videos, they've got courses. It just is full of information that the end user, being the booker, the planner, the person on the street wanting to look for a course, that person is going, okay, that's the one that I want because that resonates with me. So it's far more condensed than our bureau's pages, which is, here's the speaker, here's the video, the show reel, keynote topics, the fees are transparent or not, or they'll say, on request, whatever it be, where they travel from, that's the information. So we try to make it that it was more about putting the power back to the booker and the planner and saying, that's what you want to do, find them. Ultimately, the speaker or the MC or the entertainer, you have as much information on there as you can. Then you update it. If you don't want to update it, you can't then say, well, nobody finds me because I've got 0 reviews. I have no information on there. I've got a very standard, limited bio. I don't even have a show reel. Oh, but where's the work?
Sure.
So
you really are putting the onus back on the speaker as well.
On both. So if you want to be noticed, if you want to be found and you want to stand out, it's the same as if I go to booking.com and I want to find a hotel or somewhere to get away. You start at the top. Those are review driven. You look at those hotels. They might be out of my price bracket. But then it'll say, oh, other ones similar. So then I'll start scrolling down and go, okay, those are great. But at least I know the benchmark of what is at the top. And then I look for what's in my price range. And then I look at the reviews. And if that venue that I want to go to, or that hotel or little B&B place has good reviews, then I will go there and book it. It's exactly this. And
I
the
get
same
it.
principle should be for the speaker or the talent. And say, are the reviews
Right.
there? What do the reviews say? You can load up video testimonials. Okay, so that's even better because now it's a real person speaking to a camera. It's not just a made up
Sure.
testimonial that we find on many sites. Anybody can
Yes.
say L.S. Oh, this person thinks I'm fantastic. Well, who's L.S?
Sure. Anybody can do that. Yeah. Makes perfect sense. Bronwyn, you've been itching to say something. You wanted to add something?
So, I think that most people look at the two of us and go, but you guys are trying to put each other out of business, right?
Yes.
So
That's what I was going to ask you.
Yeah, so the app is there to, in essence, circumvent the bureau, right? So
Yes.
it's no, not really, because we actually use, with Speakers Inc. and with conference speakers, we use a lot of the profiles on WeSpeak to sell the speakers because they've got more stuff, right? Because they've got the social proof, they've got the sizzle reel, they've got the testimonials, they've got the extra PDFs, they've got a lot more collateral, which even the speaker's own website sometimes don't have, because some speakers, they have employed web designers or developers, which cost money. Every time you send them an email to update something, they send you a bill, right? Or if you are a WordPress fundy, you go and you do update, but you need time to do that. I mean, some South African speakers, household name South African speakers, got very ratty with me when I pointed out to them, but the last thing that you updated was in 2017 on your website.
Yes.
So I got a lot of stick for that because, of course, I was the messenger in that. So and I know I've done it. I've personally closed deals through Speakers Inc. by using the WeSpeak profile. So I can share it from my phone. I'm in contact with a lot of my clients via WhatsApp. I just went onto that particular one I'm thinking of, went onto her profile on WeSpeak, and from within the app, it says share. I shared it onto WhatsApp. I sent it to the client. She was in a meeting with her client. She came back to me 20 minutes later. Great stuff. Please confirm. Easy as that. Okay. So much easier than referring somebody to my website who's only then got the profile and maybe a video. So I look at it as a much more comprehensive profile for those speakers who are spending time on it, who are investing in their business, who are working with us to get them more work. And as far as putting us out of business, for me, the value of an agency is that I know my speakers. I only work with the guys that I believe in, with the guys that I really care about, that I love. I believe in their message. I believe in them as human beings. I know how they present. I know what they present on. I know the kind of audiences that they were best suited to, right? It's a lesson I learned very early on. Do not put somebody like that in front of an audience of engineers, for instance. That's not going to fly. So that's the value of an agent, of a bureau, is to know our talent and to know which audiences are best suited for them. The client may not always know that. The client may Google best motivational speakers in South Africa, and they're going to come up with the website with a whole bunch of irrelevant people on there for what they're particularly looking for, right? And just because the website says they're the best speakers in Kathmandu doesn't mean that they will be, right? So they're going to phone an agent and go, I saw this profile, what do you think? Have you seen this person speak, etc., etc.? And it's our recommendation. It's our brand built up over 25 years of putting the right people in front of the right audiences, and our planners trusting us to do that. That's the relationship that most speakers are so quick to dismiss because our search engine optimization is better than theirs, right? It's not about that. It's about the trust that we build with our clients over years and years and years, and it's about our brand endorsing the speaker's brand. So from that perspective, that hasn't changed very much. Where WeSpeak has come along, it's allowed us to scale that. It's allowed more and more people to get onto the platform, and where inherently it would have been me or some of my team going, I've seen this person speak, I put my brand behind them. Now they've got other people giving them social proof, other people putting their names behind them. So it's just allowed us to scale what I believe in and what I've been doing for 23 years. So it's not really putting us out of business, it's expanding our business, if that makes any sense.
How close am I? It feels to me like you both own a restaurant. Certain people love to eat in, and they will only eat in at that restaurant. And certain people will use DoorDash to get the food to where it needs to be, but they'll go online, they'll do what they need to do, and it'll be delivered to them. So there are two very different kinds of animals in the business, certainly anyway. So you could also have, for instance, like you were saying, other agents who are agents. I use the word agents, I use it loosely. I'm not too sure. That has become such an overarching, such a broad use of a phrase. But those agents would go on to WeSpeak and find what they're looking for, and you are still going to be effectively making your money out of the fact that that particular person is paying to be there. So it's up to them really to make that item on the restaurant menu look that much more appealing than the next one. It's really up to the speakers. Am I right though? I mean, Duncan, that's where it comes in. It is up to the speakers and the people responsible for those speakers to make sure that their offering on WeSpeak is better than the next one to help them get that business. It really is it's a two-way street, right?
No, it's like anything you use. If you buy a car and you park it in the garage and never drive it, you can't then say, oh well, I've got an expensive car in the garage and it's costing me money, but you never take it out of the garage.
Get it.
So that doesn't help. It's exactly the same with WeSpeak. You can't say, well, I get no leads, I get nothing from WeSpeak, but I've done nothing with it. I've never taken it out of the garage. I haven't shared it. I haven't told anybody about it. I haven't used it to the full capabilities. I mean, I had the speaker phone me at 4 o'clock in the morning, to tell me lots of things, because that's what they love to do. They told me a lot of things and what I could be doing better. How's this for being authentic? So then I said to him, well, okay, that's great, but actually, here's all the WhatsApps that I've sent you, and here's the emails that I've sent you, asking you to provide me with this information. Nothing was given. I've asked you to use what is there. So we've provided everything on the platform at one single fee, and you have access to everything. You choose what you want to use. If you don't want to take that car out of the garage, then that's up to you. If you want to take the car just down to the corner, that's also up to you. If you want to take it on a long, across the US and go and see all the states and actually make full use of it and say, I'm going to have online courses, I'm going to have my on-demand videos. Actually, I want to be on the Meet the Speaker section. I want to be on this section. How do I do that? Oh, you've got articles. I want to make full use of everything that's on there. Knowing that it also takes time, then that's great. Then be on there and use it.
That's a great analogy. You've given that some thought. Definitely. That's a goodie. That's a goodie.
Yes, we have.
I like that.
I like that. Conversations.
And I agree with Bronwyn. It's impossible that one thing we've learned, and I love it being here in America, is that there's so many opportunities. And there are so many speakers. And when I say speakers, yes, just the keynote speakers. But there's entertainers, there's MCs, there's comedians.
That's huge.
The whole talent pool is huge. So it's impossible to now say that we've seen everyone speak. That is absolutely impossible. So when we take our bureau, Speakers Inc., and that we're running as a boutique bureau. So we are selective of who we want on there. You have to wow us, because like Bronwyn said, it's our brand. And we're going to endorse you. We're going to put our stamp on that and say, actually, we endorse Duane. Here's our stamp of approval.
Which we do, by the way.
That is worth more than just sending it off and getting nothing back. Our stamp of approval is telling the client, actually, we believe in this speaker. We believe in you. That's who you should. Now, that's what often people don't see, is all the work that goes on behind the scenes. I mean, we're working on inquiries that are carrying on now for 2-3 weeks, going backwards and forwards. Bronwyn just closed off one this morning for a speaker in Sweden, for a client in Africa. So there's all that goes on, and it takes time. all you see, all the speakers see is that message or that email going, actually, are you available? Can we confirm you? Yes. And you think that's what our role is and our worth, because you don't see what happens the rest of the time. That actually we may have suggested you. So there's a lot of this. We're a boutique bureau, and the difference with WeSpeak is that we're saying there's far more potential, there's far more growth, and it's not just actually about speakers. It's not just about the event planner being able to find the speaker. It's about an end user saying, well, actually, I'm looking for a course on motivation or self-care, which seems to be the buzzword these days. Or maybe tomorrow I want to be a giraffe. I don't know. We don't have a course like that, but
Yet.
I'm sure somebody's got it.
They most certainly will be.
There's more on there that it's not just for the booker. It's also for general public to go and say, when we had an inquiry on Friday, and the client was looking at speakers, but actually said to me, oh, what about if you just had a 20-minute online video I could share with my team? I've got 5 or 6, I'm a small business. That would be great. And if the speaker could join us for a Q&A, that would be even better, but it's not the end of the world. I just want to be able to take a video. And maybe we can look at doing that every 6 weeks. I went, that's fantastic. I'm so glad you asked that question. We already have that. And here's the link.
Yeah. Sure.
And he was like, okay, great.
Yeah.
And the speakers set their own fees on there, their own costs. So I said, you choose.
Yes.
What's your budget?
Yes.
You need to decide and take it from there. So we know that there's scope. We know that it's there. We also know that Airbnb took 7 years to get off the ground and really get going. Nothing happens overnight. So we're in here for the long haul. Bronwyn's been doing Speakers Inc. for 25 years. I joined late to the party. I love it. I love getting to work with my best friend and partner. I sit in the same office, and I'm inspired every day.
Aww.
So this is just another adventure that we're on.
He might be inspired to swear a little bit more.
Only sometimes, though, Bron. Only sometimes. And only when you've compromised.
Exactly.
Otherwise, no.
When I've realized I've compromised 80%.
Yeah, when the compromise has left you. Yeah. I'll tell you when it was. When he realized he was hanging by a thread to that farm dream in Texas. That's when he realized the penny finally dropped.
Yeah.
I'm going to do this, though.
All I was told was that it needed to have Wi-Fi. So that's what I thought. Okay, lovely ranch, open fields, wake up with a cup of coffee, have my Yellowstone, and then have Wi-Fi.
Well, at least you've got ambition. Yellowstone, no less. Let's go for Yellowstone. I'm going to do this, though, Bronwyn. 2 things I want to ask you very quickly as we kind of wind up for the day. The one is, first of all, it's called Speakers Inc. And Duncan has said it a number of times. And I've had this conversation with clients many, many times when I say, give Bronwyn or Duncan a shout at Speakers Inc. But I'm not looking for a speaker. The name itself is a little misleading sometimes to people who don't know the history and exactly what you do. So I'm going to really, it's going to sound like a silly question to you maybe. What does Speakers Inc. provide to events and coordinators that are planning at the moment?
That's such a great question, Duane. Nobody's said that to me in 23. Maybe they talk about me behind my back. Could that be?
No, it's only me. It's only me.
Great question. No, seriously. So we don't do speakers only. We do speakers, as you know, MCs, entertainers, bands, comedians. Like we are the one-stop shop for everything, and have been for the longest time. We have great relationships with certain comedy management companies, less great relationships with others, great relationships with entertainment agencies. The South African industry is so tiny. You cannot get away with being, what did we call them earlier? Let's use a polite word, a pawpaw, did you say? You can't get away with it.
I've never heard that word. I've no idea. It was not me.
Let's educate the Americans. You can't get away with being an asshole, okay, for too long, because the industry is too small. So, I have great relationships with David and Lisa at About Entertainment. We've worked together for 25 years as well. If I don't have an entertainer, I message them. If they need a speaker, they message me. That's just the first one that comes to mind. So everything, whatever they need, we can find. And wherever
Right.
possible, we do co-broke so that the client doesn't pay any extra money. So I think as a small business
Yes.
owner myself, I've often sat and thought, sure, this comedian is costing however many thousands of rands, whatever. As a small business owner, would I find value in that? And not necessarily just a comedian before I get shot dead, but with certain speakers as well. Even 20 years ago, some of them were really expensive. And could I justify spending that money on my tiny team of people? And it took a long time for me to get away from that, to realize that the corporate mindset is very different. But still, I have that kind of, well, I don't want to cost my client money. I want it to be the best deal that we can so that everybody is fairly winning, if that makes sense. That there's nobody that's making, I can't bear greed, to be honest with you. That's just me being as authentic as I can. Greed and arrogance are my two pet peeves. I can't deal with them. So
look, and in this business, those will be the two things that will end you in a heartbeat. Those two things, if those things are true, you're so right.
I know. So that's what we do. To answer your question, we do everything. If you're wanting I think the only thing that we don't, we do fire dancers. I think the only thing we've never, we did turn down an inquiry once, maybe 10 years ago, for somebody who wanted pole dancers. I think that was where we were like, okay, I actually can't find somebody who does that.
I think that sounds like a challenge to me. We'll have to get a client who's looking for a pole dancer, so we can include that in your resume as of this point. We even do.
Yes. As of 2022.
Duncan, yeah, there we go. Duncan, same question applies really, because again, it's called WeSpeak. So the inference is immediately it's speakers.
Just to reiterate what Bronwyn was saying, so not just the South African market, but our .com site, speakersinc.com, which is what we had in San Diego for, is that we are including the entertainers, the comedians. We are searching for that. So we are saying it's not just about speakers. So yes, maybe the title is misleading, but you can find everything on there. You can find MCs, such as yourself, Duane.
Sure.
You on there.
Sure. But I want people to know that, because it's something I obviously already know, that there is a bigger backstory to the two. And I'm saying really, I think I'm bringing this up because I want people to go to speakersinc.com, have a look at the site, go to WeSpeak, have a look, because that's going to cover those bases. And I think once they make acquaintance with the site, it's going to be a lot easier for them to do what they do.
Yeah. So on WeSpeak, calling it WeSpeak, we had a lot of ideas around the name of what we wanted, and it's hard. It's like trying to find a title of a book.
Yes.
It's easier to name a child.
Yes, definitely.
And then, when we settled on the name, then it wasn't available, and there were certain names that weren't, and it was just an absolute nightmare when we first started this whole process. And then you've got to remember, it's got to get onto the apps, because it's not just a platform that's like every other bureau on every desktop. Yes, we're available on the desktop, but actually it goes through to 3 app stores. You've got Huawei, Apple, and Google. You've got the typical the Android, the Google Play Store. So it's available on that. So then we had to make sure that they were coded correctly for each of the app stores. And Apple's been a real mission. It still is a nightmare at times. They are an entity onto their own, and they wanted a different name. They weren't happy that we could call it WeSpeak at the time. We've managed to change it to WeSpeak Global on Android and Huawei, and hopefully in the next update in the next couple of weeks on Apple, that will change too. It'll also be synchronized across the board. So,
good.
Yes, WeSpeak is an accompanying thing that even MCs that stand up, you're still talking. You're just pulling 100%. It all together.
Of course.
Comedians are talking. They're making people laugh.
I agree.
Entertainers are singing. They're singing by talking with their voice. So it's all of that.
Can I help you answer the question?
Of course.
Can I help you answer the question? Because I've thought about it long and hard. Because I honestly believe that entertainment is a conversation. In entertainment of any kind or brand needs to be a conversation. Whether that conversation is an auditory one is up for grabs. It doesn't need to be, but it's a conversation. I'm singing a song, you are listening to a song, we are communicating, we are conversing, be it with music, be it with art, be it with magic, be it with mentalists, be it with a motivational talk, it doesn't matter. All of those things are a conversation. So we are speaking. No matter what we do, it falls under the umbrella of we are talking. It's a version of talking. For many, many years, the only way two countries could communicate was through music or through something other than words. So I think it's all a conversation. I've always felt this way about the name in particular, and about the fact that it is, if you're having a conversation with a client in a room, you're communicating, you'll be more successful than you are just standing there telling them something. If it's a conversation, so the speak immediately becomes part of it. We are speaking, we're talking, we are entertaining. I don't know. That's the way I've always looked at it. Maybe it's a little bit airy fairy. I don't know.
No, I think that's a great way to look at it.
But it's, I just think if we are talking, even if it's a one-man band, and I'm going to say this with all due respect because I have such massive respect for the guys, standing in the corner, he's doing a couple of songs that are connecting and they are talking, and the guy looks at him and smiles because it's his favorite song. They've had a little chat. We've chatted. It might be a musical chat, but it's a chat nevertheless. So that's always the way I've looked at it. And I think your two answers encompass exactly that, because you're working with people.
Yeah.
No, carry on, Duncan. Sorry.
I love that answer. I might take it actually if I can remember it.
We're recording. You'll be fine.
When we look at the differences and why we love being here, is that it seems to be here everyone is not just a speaker, they are content creators.
Are you talking?
The material that we get is professional, it's professionally provided, and it's accessible, and there's no hiding behind, oh, this is mine and I'm not going to give you that, and how dare you use this article, and how dare you use this blog, or
Sure.
I had a speaker on Monday that said to me, please, here's my blog, take whatever article you want, share it onto your Medium, share it to the bloggers that you work with, put it on the platform, put it on your website. We use all the links. It's not like we're going to take it and just use our links. No, we want to use your links. The more exposure we can get. So the content has been fundamental to us. And I think that's what, when we look back, we go, we lack that. And as much as we asked for it, we never got it. And it's frustrating because you can't, again, come back to the whole thing of take the car at the garage, but you're not willing to put petrol in. So now we take the analogy and go, well, actually, to put petrol in is by giving us content. The more content you give us, the more likelihood that somebody's going to stop you and go, great car.
Yeah, absolutely, guaranteed. Yeah. And I love that, where you're going. And it also makes me think about the fact that over the last couple of weeks, and I'm going to finish with this, Bron, with the Speakers Inc. Global Speakers Showcase that we've been running, I've been watching the guys that we've been working with in the last couple of weeks. The guys on LinkedIn, they are so active. They are creating content every single day. Josh is one of those guys every single day. Yeah. And I think it's so inspiring, number one, because I think we come from South Africa where that didn't necessarily have to be the case, because you would still get the work. Here, it's a very different scenario. You have to do the work. You have to have a brand awareness. You have to have constant reminders. You have to have constant content created so that people know you are there, because the pool is so big. How do you stand out? Your content is going to make you stand out. And talking about that, and like I say, that particular roadshow, Bron, where did that idea come from, and how's it going, and where do you see it in a couple of months?
Right. Well, I think that came from some quiet corner of hell at 2:00 in the morning. Like,
I've had a nightmare.
Was I thinking? Jesus. Anyway, so for me, so one of the silver linings of the pandemic really was that a lot of our clients in South Africa got dragged kicking and screaming and coughing their lungs out with COVID over the line into the 21st century, getting out of their way to have a speaker zoom in, right? So they can be meeting somewhere and still have a speaker I mean, I don't see it too far away that we're going to be doing this in the metaverse and that people are going to be hologramming in. Okay, that's not too far away. So for me, it was like, yes, COVID was no joke. There is nothing funny about it. We lost a lot. All of us in this industry lost. But I have to look at the good stuff, right? And so we came into contact with speakers here in Australia, in the UK, who are phenomenal speakers. They have amazing content. They have amazing stories. It's just that their geography was a challenge. And so for me, it was, well, and we were able to do that through COVID. We were able to book more international speakers in the last 18 months than we've booked in the last 23 years. So for me, that really is one of the things that we were able to really focus on as one of the upsides. So but I also coming here, needing to start the business here, needing to be in front of my clients. There's so many bureaus here. I mean, there's hundreds of bureaus here. So how do we set ourselves apart? How do we make it that we are people that can be trusted here as we were trusted in South Africa? I can't keep picking up the phone, cold calling people going, hey, do you remember I called you last week and I just want to remind you that we're still here and we have some really cool speakers. Okay, I can't do that. I've never been able to do that. I'm not a cold caller. I'm not that kind of animal. So for me, putting the showcase together was a way of combining. I have something to tell my clients about. I have something to invite them to. I have some way of showcasing some of the extraordinary talent that we have available to us. I mean, wasn't Josh fantastic? He's just a delight to work with. I mean, look at Lorne. Lorne, he did really well, and he kept us talking until like 2 a.m, didn't he? So that they have been amazing. Tiffany was great. Zoya was phenomenal. So and we've got
Jason was superb. Jason was superb.
Jason is one of
the
Jason is one of the highlights for me of COVID because I spoke to him at the beginning of COVID. And he's just been a rock star and a gentleman and an absolute delight to work with. So I'm so happy to be able to bring these guys to South African audiences and vice versa, bring South African and European speakers to American audiences. So that's really what we're doing. There's 27 speakers over 16 weeks. I think we're 3 weeks into it. It's fun.
It is. No, I think it really is. I think it's great fun. I'm learning so much. Of course.
Right, can I jump in? So, I remember when Bronwyn mentioned this to me and I thought, oh, goodness me. We did the showcases in Cape Town and Joburg. And it was stressful. It is stressful.
Sure, it is.
You sit there and you have great speakers and you have a great MC or comedian hosting it in the live performances. And then you sit there hoping that people are going to come through the door. And that you can never guarantee. And some would have a good audience and some wouldn't and be like, oh, why didn't it work? And it's exactly the same with virtual. So I think one of the things that Bronwyn said to me was that these next 16 weeks, 27 speakers, it's not just going to be 16 weeks. It's going to be rolling on. And we've evolved it. It's not just the speakers now. We're now taking it on to meet the speaker, where we can do people launches. Bronwyn did a meet the speaker this morning.
Lovely.
With the speaker. So it's evolved into a second element of it. But I think virtual is harder. I think people are zoomed out and they want to go back to the live performances, but they still need to find out who those speakers are. So they can't just leave work and jump off, go to a hotel down the road in San Diego or La Jolla or wherever it be. Those venues also cost a lot of money. So the easiest way is to say, actually, we're running it at this time. It's suitable for people in UK to come and watch. It's suitable for people in South Africa, Australia, and obviously in America. So we run it at 9 a.m. PST, or it's at 3 p.m. in the UK, UK and South Africa. But it's afternoons there. So everything, and we then record it and we put it out, and we can now say it's available on demand. You can watch it afterwards at your own leisure. So I think That was the message that I got from Bronwyn. It wasn't just about who attended on the day. Obviously, we want people to join virtually. But if nobody can make it, you know what, we're professionals, we all are, we're all running in the professional industry.
Sure.
It's a bigger picture. It's saying, what can we use with that material? Can we now send it off to a client and go, actually, here, watch Jason's performance. That's what you're going to get in a 45-minute presentation. Double that. And triple it, because now you've got the actual energy of the person on stage. Or Joshua's message. And Joshua's telling his stories, or Lorne sharing his photography that you couldn't really see clearly as you do in live performance. I've watched them live where you see those images of those leopards, and it's like, wow, it's crystal clear. And his story. And there's more speakers to come. We've seen some of them, we've spoken, engaged with them. I'm really excited for me just to sit in the background and listen to their stories and listen to them again afterwards. And the questions and answers that come up. So that, for me, is it's more about what we can do afterwards.
Sure. Well, I agree with both of you. I most certainly do.
And it's working. I mean, we've had a confirmation in the last couple of days because of somebody who actually wasn't online, but she watched it afterwards, and the confirmation came through. See, it's for me, and really, it's about the 27 speakers that we're working with. We're working as a team, so we're maximizing exposure for all 27 people across the 16 weeks across all of our channels, right? So it may well be that they go, oh, I've seen this guy. He's all over the place. He's on LinkedIn and he's on Twitter and he's on whatever and whatever.
There we go.
And they go to his website. It's just about raising awareness across every possible platform we can to get work for our guys. That's really.
Well, I think it's a great initiative. I think it's a fantastic initiative, number one. And I think I can't think of a better way of launching the brand in America as well, because it really is. I think it's reaching into spaces that we didn't without Zoom. And I agree with you, Duncan, in so many ways. I think a lot of people are zoomed out. But when you watch somebody like a Josh, or you watch somebody, in fact, so many of the guys already have turned the online experience into a very, very good one. So you suddenly forget that it's online. For a split second, you kind of still think that you're in that environment because we're so used to this format. And I think we're also so used to a lot of people battling. When somebody doesn't battle online, it's suddenly a revelation. It's suddenly like, wow, this is really impressive. If it's so nice here, can you only imagine what it's going to be like in the real world? But hold on a second, maybe I can't afford to get this person to South Africa, but I can still do this, and look how good he was. So I think it covers so many bases. It makes it so much easier for you, number one, to explain to people how it works, and then go, well, don't take my word for it. Have a look. I mean, that's the best way of doing things, right?
Can you imagine how amazing Jason must be in real life?
100%. 100%. Absolutely. Couldn't agree more. You know, he's a great guy.
And I think we're forgetting one vital, important factor is that just before launch, we were still stuck with the final element of this whole showcase. And that was Duane.
And that
Duane
was Duane.
kept it. That's the importance. No, that's the importance of having a host, a facilitator, a professional MC, is that you have pulled these showcases together better than we could have imagined. The way you introduce them, your energy, your professional take on everything, and that's years of experience that you have. So, you know, I know for Bronwyn too, that we are highly grateful and deeply appreciative of you stepping in and running these for us. And the way you're controlling the questions and answers, even though you're off camera for 20, 25 minutes while they're talking, you are engaged in listening because you have to ask those questions. So we thank you very much.
Of course.
And I think it's, if anybody is looking for an MC, definitely they should look at you and book you through us.
Well, I appreciate that. Well, I appreciate that, and I agree on both counts.
As you should. No, I mean, I think Duane, you know, it's like seriously, I've always been one of your biggest fans. You know that when you've worked together for forever, and when you said okay that you were available and that you would do this at these ungodly hours, because where you are now is, you know, sometimes when we do the South African things, it's 3 a.m. for you, right? So it's midnight for us, 3 a.m, and you always bringing the same level of energy. Like, I don't even want to know what your Red Bull account looks like at the end of every month, okay? Because you are always super high energy, super fun.
Thank you.
And in 25 years, I've never seen you lose your temper. I've never seen you lose your cool. I've never seen you be anything other than professional and sophisticated. And that's why we love working with you. That's why our brand has been so consistently happy to put you forward for gigs. And even more so now in America, really. I think the Americans
I appreciate that tremendously.
Very lucky to have us all on the continent, I'm just going to say.
Well, I agree with you completely, because I think we're going to bring something different. The biggest thing first of all, thank you. You both made me blush. If I'm not blushing visually, you've got me completely at a loss for words. How often does that happen with an MC?
First time ever.
yeah, literally, I'm blushing. So thank you very much to both of you. And I just think it's a real treat to be part of it, because of the fact that I think this is something new. It's something really, really energetic, and it's got this ability to transcend what I think we understand the speaker's business and the entertainment business already is. I think we have this unique opportunity right now to be able to rebrand and to reshape what entertainment is going to look like going forward with the hybrid situations and all of these things. I think it's a real treat to be part of it. So thank you for saying yes, number one, and to obviously being open to me being part of it. And I think we need to have another one of these in about 3 months' time, where we can just really talk about where we've gotten to, what we've done, what kind of breakthroughs have been made, because I think the conversation is going to be very different to the one we're having today. I really do. I think